Hi guys, today I will be sharing chocolate cake with peanut butter frosting. For the recipe we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 eggs, 125 grams of butter, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 and 1/4 cup of plain flour, 1 and 1/4 cup of sugar, half a cup of cocoa powder, and 1 cup of water. First thing we need to do is to combine the baking powder and the flour, give it a mix, and then we will set this aside. Next thing, in a pot, combine the water, sugar, cocoa powder, butter, and baking soda. And then we're gonna give this a mix, and then we will gonna go to the stove with the heat setting at the lowest. While we're melting the butter and the sugar, it is important not to let the mixture boil. So make sure that your heat setting is at the lowest. And once the butter and sugar is dissolved, then you can turn the heat up to medium. Once the mixture is boiling, like this, you have to keep an eye on it and you have to stir it because it will rise up because of the baking soda. At this point, you can turn the heat down to low again and let it simmer for about 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, we're gonna turn off the heat, and then we're gonna transfer this into a bowl and let it cool down before we can move on to the next step. Once the cocoa mixture has cooled down, we can add the eggs one at a time. Then give it a whisk. Once the egg is all combined, then we can add the next egg. By the way, before you start making the cake, make sure that you have prepared the pan, line it with parchment paper, and put butter around the sides of the cake pan. I will be using 2 cake pans, but you can use just one. And at this point, we can add the flour, sift it as much as possible. And then just mix it until it's just combined. Your oven should be preheated at 180 degrees Celsius. So now we're ready to divide the cake into 2. Again, you can use just one pan. We will bake this in a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes. Or if you're using one pan, bake it for about 35 to 40 minutes. And this is what it looks like after baking. Let it stay in the cake pan like this for about 5 minutes before taking it out of the cake pan. After about 5 to 10 minutes, let the cake cool down completely on a wire rack. For the peanut butter frosting, we're gonna need 1 cup of smooth peanut butter, 2.5 tablespoons of cream. You could use milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 cup of butter, and 3 cups of powdered sugar. First thing we're gonna do is to beat the butter. I'm using my stand mixer, but you could use handheld mixer for this. At this point, we can add the peanut butter. And then we're gonna start beating again. It is important when you're beating this to make sure that there's no more lumps of the butter. It would be easier if your butter is at room temperature. Occasionally stop to scrape down the side of the bowl. So what we're looking for here is for the butter and the peanut butter to be one smooth consistency. We're almost there. Now we can add the vanilla. And now we can add the powdered sugar slowly. I'm doing half a cup at a time, and this is the last addition. Oops, my son. And now we can add the cream. Again, you could use milk if you don't have cream on hand. So I'm adding the cream 1 tablespoon at a time. By the second addition of the cream, I will check the consistency. It's a little bit thick for my liking, so I'll add half a tablespoon of the cream again. And then at this point, the frosting is ready. It's time to assemble the cake. I made some macaroons, but the video will be too long. So if you wanna look for this recipe, I made a separate video. I'll put the link below on where you can find it. So this is our cake that has completely cooled down. We just kind of cut the top of the cake so it's flat, and then we can start adding the frosting on the first layer. Then put the second layer on top. And then start frosting the side and the top of the cake. The cake does not need to be completely smooth because we're gonna use the cake comb to make a design on the sides of the cake. The camera didn't show it, but at this point I'm gonna use the cake comb to do the design, just like so. And using the buttercream piping bag and one M-tip, I'm just making ruffles on the top side of the cake. I've got 70 ml of cream here and 140 grams of baking chocolate that I melted in the microwave. And then pour the ganache on top of the cake. Make sure that it's warm, not hot, or else the peanut butter frosting will melt. And I also set aside a little bit of the ganache in a bag. But before that, I'm placing the macaroons on top of the cake for decoration. This is totally optional. I made a separate video on how to make the macaroons. So if you wanna watch that, I'll put the link below. I have extra macaroons, so initially I added the extra macaroons on the side of the cake. And then I added some ganache on the side of the cake just to create some dripping chocolate illusion. And then this is the finished product. I removed the macaroons on the side because it's too much. And then just to show you what it looks like when you cut the cake inside. At this point, the ganache is still not set, but it will set. This cake is really good. The cake is moist and the buttercream frosting is really light and you can really taste the peanut butter. So I hope you give this a try. Again, thank you so much for watching. Bye!